Welcome back, everyone, to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. We're doing our mock draft 2.0. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're just doing the first round because we're picking every team. If we did 7 rounds, we'd be here all day. And that would be the probably longest video in history. So we're not going to do that, but we'll just do the first rounds with every team. Last week, I believe that I had the odds and the NFC North because that's my division with the Vikings, and then Lance had the evens in the NFC East with his division. But to make it fun, we're gonna flip it. I'm gonna get the evens in the NFC East. Lance is gonna get the odds in the NFC North. So this is gonna be a lot of fun. Let me go ahead and get my screen shared here, and we will get started. We'll draft all 32 teams here. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Let's go ahead and get started with the first overall pick. What do you got for us, Lance?
This one won't be a change up because
Yeah,
it would be dumb too. It's Cam Ward, so we should just go
I
ahead and
mean,
pencil it in.
yeah, I don't see how that could be any different. I agree with you. Cam Ward, you're a Tennessee Titoon. Okay, so since I got the NFC East, I get the next two picks. And for pick two, it's probably going to be a semi chalky here. I'm really torn for them between Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. It makes a lot of sense either way. Abdul Carter pairing him with Myles Garrett, having probably the nastiest edge rushing duo in the league. Travis Hunter being the just crazy athlete he is. He can play defense and offense. Don't think he's going to do both in the NFL a lot, but he can do both. Where I'm going to go is I'm going to make similar as last week because I have a reason for it, but I'm going to go Abdul Carter here. So pair up with Myles Garrett, make that defense crazy, and I think the Browns probably pick up a quarterback in the second round, but I'm going Abdul Carter here. This is where it gets interesting. I'm saying the Giants don't go quarterback. I'm saying they actually do something smart. What? I say they pick the best player available, who is hands down Travis Hunter. He's going to make their defense better. He's going to be in certain packages on offense. Russell Wilson's going to love him because he's actually going to be have a check down, a little slot guy. He's going to pair up with Tyrone Tracy Jr., who is, I mean, I'm a really big fan of Tyrone Tracy Jr. I think he's a little underrated. And then Malik Neighbors is going to get all the double teams. I love Travis Hunter in this spot. I'm going there. No quarterback. Shador Sanders is still on the board. He's going to fall a little bit, I think.
I think you're right. Man, this one is tough for me, Andrew.
Oh,
I've thought
actually,
a
it's on
lot
me.
about.
It's still on me, actually, because it's the even pick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's still on me. Okay, I wasn't thinking that. Wasn't thinking that through. Um, okay, so for the Patriots, this is very interesting because obviously Carter and Travis Hunter, they were hoping one of them would fall to him. But in this mock draft, they didn't. So where do they go? Do they go like a Mason Graham, really shoring up that defense? I'm going to say they don't. I'm going to say they go with my boy, McMillan. Pair up with Stephon Diggs, helping Drake May out. McMillan's going to be their future. Diggs is just their present. I'm going McMillan for the Patriots at 4. Got to shake things up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's fair. And to me, if I'm the Jags and the board plays out that way,
Hmm.
I think you got to go Mason Graham based on their needs, based on what
Yeah.
they're looking for. I
Yeah.
There's a couple other people here, but let's say Mason Graham. I think they're going to like him
Yeah. It
and
makes a
like the
lot of
value.
sense. Hmm.
Yeah.
They have
One
decent
inter
edge rushers still, so they can use some upfront beef up there. So yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, one note I was going to add, by the way, on the Cleveland Browns thing that I heard is that I've heard that they are purposely putting out smoke screen to make people think they're going to take Travis Hunter to set it up and then take Abdul Carter so that everyone's shocked by the
Interesting.
pick.
Interesting.
So
Okay. We'll see what happens. That is interesting. But Mason Graham, you are a Jaguar. Okay, here I think this is almost as just chalky as the Cam Warren pick. You can't not take Ashton Genty to the Raiders. It makes too much sense. It makes too much, especially with Tet being gone. If Tet was still here, if McMillan was still here, that would have been interesting. Interesting decision between the two because they could use an alpha receiver, but they also could use an alpha running back. So if that was the case, if they're both here, I don't know where the Raiders go. That'd have been a question mark, but that's not the case. So this one's fairly obvious. Best running back. I heard people compare him to almost the same level as a Saquon Barkley as far as their draft pedigree, like what they're looking at. Not on Saquon Barkley level, but close, like similar to like a Bijan Robinson like draft value. That's how high people are thinking of Ashton Genty right now.
yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. Um,
Hmm. The Jets, 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 Jets.
do I continue with what we did last week, Andrew, or should I spice it up here? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out in my head because
Yeah,
I feel like we could
yeah.
take this Jets pick and put it in so many different directions.
Hmm. You absolutely could.
Let's say the Jets go for Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn
Okay.
State. He's coming to New
Yeah,
York. I'm hearing
he's
steam
a
picking up
jack
on
of
it,
all
which is
trades. Yeah,
surprising to me, but let's go with Tyler Warren. I think that they're going to get another
yeah.
playmaker.
And I think what's kind of sneaky with Tyler Warren is he's kind of like a I can't remember his name. I'm drawing a blank, but the Saints tight end that did everything. What was his name?
Oh, you're talking about Taysom Hill?
Yes. Yes, because Tyler Warren has scored touchdowns on the ground, through the air, and he's thrown a touchdown pass. So he is kind of a do-it-all just athlete. And he's a weapon that makes a lot of sense if the Jets go that way because they don't really have a lot of weapons. Defense is good. Offensive line is okay. Not great, but it's okay. If Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, but hey, they have Alan Lazard on a cheap deal.
They sure do. Getting paid's better than
Okay.
not getting paid, Andrew.
I mean, I can't disagree with that, but he took an $8 million pay cut when he could have
Sure
just
did.
stayed there and got cut. And anyway, Um, moving on to the eighth pick with the Panthers. This is interesting. I would have loved for the Panthers if Tet was there because they could use some wide receiver help still. Um, but what I think where I'm going here is Will Campbell. Everyone probably feels like is probably a top five pick, and he fell a little bit. And what do you need for a young quarterback? You need to protect him. And Will Campbell is the highest graded tackle in this class. I don't know if he's my favorite tackle, but he's the highest graded tackle, so I'm going to go Will Campbell to the Panthers. And then I think you
And
get the next three because the Bears are 10.
oh yeah, yes I do. Um, yeah, I think I know who this one's going to be for the Saints. I think it's Jade Brown or Jade Barron from the Texas or
Okay.
from Texas. I think they
Okay.
fill the need of defensive back. Genty's off the board. I don't think Amari and Hampton's somebody want to pick in that spot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
the
like it.
Bears.
I really want
The
Barron to
Bears.
fall to the Vikings, but I know he won't. It's only because Barron is such a unique player because he can play at all positions on the secondary. He can play safety, slot,
Hmm.
corner, everything. And if Flores can get someone like that, whoo, watch out. But I don't think he's fallen that far at all.
Yeah, for the Bears. Mm,
You want to see the board a little
yeah, you
bit
know what?
here?
Why don't we go to Edge for me?
Edge. All right.
So interesting because this is not the way I'm hearing it. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go out of turn here. Keep scrolling down.
Okay.
Is he not in there? Am I looking at the wrong spot?
Who are you
Isn't
looking
Jalen
for?
Walker an edge?
Maybe
I
he's
see.
technically an interior linebacker. Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
technically a linebacker according to PFF.
I've heard some Jalen Walker buzz to the Bears, and I
Okay,
think I'm going to pick him there.
okay,
I feel like he's higher on some people's boards than PFF's. I feel like he's going to go somewhere in the
yeah.
teens.
PFF third rankings I've noticed is a little different than consensus. Is it going to be right? Maybe, but maybe not. So, okay, I like
Yeah.
it. Jalen Walker. Okay, makes their defense even more formidable because their defense was already like a top 12-ish unit in that range, top 10-ish. That makes it even better. Okay, now you're
And
on the
this
clock
one,
with the Niners.
Armand Menbo. That's who I think they're going to go for. I think they're going to get their tackle
Okay,
replacement. They're worried about Trent Williams. If he falls to
I
them,
would be too.
I think he's going.
I would be too. I'd be worried about Trent Williams as well. Okay, now my turn with the Cowboys. Oh man, I honestly I kind of think this is an easy pick because he is still there. The Bears didn't take him. They really need a running back. Javonte Williams is fine. He's not great. He's fine. He'd be a good, good backup to Murray and Hampton. Now the difficulty is they're both kind of similar-ish playing styles. Hampton's more of a power back. He's got speed, but it's not like breakaway speed. But he is just such a good player. And you know that the Cowboys want to run the ball, and they just can't. They couldn't last year. They just couldn't do it. And so, what they probably should do is address their O line or their secondary, some defensive pieces. But you know, the Cowboys, they like
Wide
to make flashy
receiver.
moves. Wide receiver, yeah, but they like to make flashy moves. This is the Cowboys. They were wanting to draft Johnny Manziel at one point. So I'm gonna go Marion Hampton to the Cowboys.
Dolphins.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that one is tough. And I think that you had Malachi Starks going to the Dolphins, if I
I
remember
think I
right,
did
in our
last
previous
time.
one.
Yeah, I think so. Because
I'm
you were
I'm
upset
paying
because you wanted
Andrew
the Eagles.
because my Eagles heart is hurting again because I want him to fall even farther, but I think he's gonna go here to the Dolphins. I
Okay.
think this is where it makes the most sense.
Yep. Replace Javon Holland. I completely get it. Okay, so this one is going to be a little change. I was planning on him being here. I didn't think he was going to go before this, and he's still here. Um, Mr. Harbaugh's going to be sad to see his boy leave, but I'm going
Oh
Colston
boy.
Loveland here. Yeah, I mean
Mm.
the Colts they have some holes, but they're not really like glaring holes because they have a decent team. They need a quarterback, but there's nobody in this draft that's going to help them. They have a couple decent weapons on
So
offense. Go
you
ahead.
wouldn't think about Sanders here? You don't think Sanders is a even all possibility? Because right now he's still on the board, right? I think he's
He still
still
is.
available.
He still is, but I don't think you can draft a quarterback in the first round unless you truly know that he is a stud if you're the Colts after making the mistake with Anthony Richardson. I mean, that's a fireable offense if you draft another quarterback and he's awful. And
Well,
we don't know with Shadur Sanders. We don't know.
when your
But yeah,
GM should
Sanders
have
is
already
still on
been
the board.
fired.
That's true. 100%. 100%. I agree. Um, but I'm going to go Colston Loveland because I think that makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people are comping him to, oh, was it, who was their tight end when Peyton Manning was there? Was it Clark? Dallas
Oh,
Clark?
was it Dallas Clark? Yeah.
People are comping that, and that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So I'm going Colston Loveland there. And Shador Sanders is still sliding. It would have kind of made sense for the Colts to take a shot at him, but they have two quarterbacks that are starterable kind of on their team already. So I don't see them going that direction right now. And both those quarterbacks aren't old, as opposed to
Yeah.
the Giants quarterbacks who are old. So I'm gonna have them continue to slide. All right, Falcons are on the clock.
Yeah, this is tough, man, because I'm trying to think of the Falcons' biggest needs, and I don't feel like the board's matching up well. I think they're going to go Campbell, but I think they're going to do it with like
Hmm.
I would have liked someone maybe a little better. And but who knows?
Hmm.
Maybe Campbell has a little bit of a Micah Parsons esque move for them. But let's go Campbell.
Okay. You don't want them to draft your Sanders?
Could you imagine?
That'd
Could
be a
you
classic
imagine?
Falcons move.
They would like have to move the team. The team would literally have to go to another state after that move.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Okay, the Cardinals. Okay, this is interesting because the best player on the board is Mike Green, but the Cardinals don't really need an edge rusher. I mean, they could, I mean, not that they wouldn't help. That'd be awesome, but they just picked up your boy in free agency. So their edge rushing room is not awful. It's not great. He's the only guy they really have, but it's not awful. What they can use, though, is a shutdown corner. So I'm going to go Will Johnson to the Cardinals. I think that makes a ton of sense. Their defense is good, but not great. With the Will Johnson and with picking up some edge rusher in the free agency, their defense has the potential to flirt with a great defense. So I'm going there.
Yeah. Um,
You're not
I,
liking
I
what you see
think I
so
know.
far?
I think I know who they would pick if this is the way the board fell to them. But I'm just thinking I don't think it's going to end the way they want it to. But if Mike Green falls to the Bengals with the
Yeah,
Trey
it makes a lot of
Hendrickson
sense.
situation,
Hmm.
I think they would pick him up.
I
So
was thinking that same
go ahead
thing.
and
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I,
Their defense is so bad.
buyer beware,
Edge
Cincinnati.
rusher.
Buyer beware.
Yeah, yeah. An elite edge rusher can change a defense, honestly, because if you cut a quarterback's time from 4 seconds in the pocket to 2.5, oh, that's huge. You can have a horrible secondary, and that can make up for it. So I like that. And now for the Seahawks. This is an interesting one. I was thinking about this when you were going with the Bengals. I was thinking, okay, Seahawks are next. Where should I go? Because they have some holes. Their offensive line is leaky. They could use some more weapons because I mean they have two slot guys, but right now the best receiver on the board is another slot guy. So I don't see them going there. Their defense is decent, but not great. I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna do something crazy here. Sam Darnold, you got competition.
Oh boy.
Shador Sanders. It
Yeah,
kind of makes a little sense because
it
they signed
does.
Sam Darnold to a 3-year contract, but it's honestly just a 1-year contract. It's prove it this year. We'll keep you around. I am a Sam Darnold guy. I'm a believer if he's in the right situation, he can thrive again. But I don't think this is the right situation. I think he'll be fine, but I don't think he's going to lead this team to like a playoff berth, at least not constructed as it is. And I kind of feel like the Seahawks maybe feel that too. So if Shador Sanders slides this far, I don't see them passing on him because that could be their future. Sam Darnold's right now. Shooter could be their future. So a little curveball there.
Man, I'm just trying to think if I was the Bucks who I would take, and that is not easy, man. Not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, they picked up Hassan Reddick, I believe, in the offseason, so they improved their pass rush. They have their great receiver trio, great running backs. Yeah, they
Because I
don't
could
honestly have a whole lot of holes.
I could see them taking James Pierce. I really
Uh-huh.
could see that working out, and that might happen. Can we go to the edge position just to make sure I'm looking at all the options in that spot?
Absolutely. There's the top like six of them.
I think they're going to go for Shamar Stewart. I know that
Yeah. Yeah,
the
I talked him up
profile.
last
I'm looking
time.
for
Hmm.
yeah. I just feel like that would be someone they'd look at. So let's go Stewart, and I think that's gonna they're gonna bring in to hopefully be someone that's
That
down the line edge rusher for him.
I love that pick. He to me is one of my favorite edge rushers in this draft. Not top 10-ish player, but he's got that raw talent that if you can develop that, that could be a stud in this league. So I love that pick. That is really good for the Bucks if that happens that way, which is very possible because I don't think Shamar Stewart's going to go in the top 10. So
Yeah.
that is really, really interesting. Okay, so now we got the Broncos. This is interesting. If Hampton was here, that'd be an easy pick, but he's not. So I don't think they go with one of the other running backs this high because the other running backs are second round or third round picks. They're still really good, but you can get a really good running back late in this draft. So with Hampton gone, I don't see them going that route. Their defense is awesome, but there are some good defensive players on the board still. I think though they probably want to go receiver. So I'm gonna go. It's tough between Luther Burden and Ibuka, but I think I'm gonna go Ibuka because I think he can move around more than Burden can. I think Burden's more of just a slot guy. So I'm gonna go with Ibuka here for the Broncos. Make their offense just a little bit better.
Mm. And I think to me, there's two people I'm considering in this spot. Do you take Josh Simmons as the tackle, or do you
hmm
take Jackson Dart like we took in the previous draft?
hmm hmm
Do you think that there's any chance that the Steelers do a little bit of a Princess Bride thing, where they overthink it too much and then
hmm
don't take Dart because they feel like what will the fans think? And we already tried this with Pickett and did it work out? Or do you think they're just going to say, you know what, we're doing it, we're going for Dart?
I say it kind of depends on Aaron Rodgers. If they have a wink nudge deal with him and he says basically, I don't want to show up for training camp, I'm Aaron Rodgers, which is something he would say. But he says, I will sign with you guys after training camp, then I could see them not taking a quarterback here. But if that's not in place, then they need to think about their team and the future of their team. And Jack Start would make sense. If they believe he is a future type of quarterback, they might not see him that way. Maybe their evaluation's a little different. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead. Let's go ahead and go Dart. I think
Okay.
overall it wins out. They look to the future, and
Man,
that's
PFF
what they
has
go
him
with.
ranked so low.
I
Wow.
just disagree with that. That doesn't
Yeah.
like he's worse
Nope.
than Leonard. He's worse than Howard. He's worse than Milrow. Milrow,
Milrow.
like he is worse than
Milrow.
Milrow. No.
I don't get
I,
it either. I
yeah.
don't get it either. All right, so this one to me is also another easy one because his boy Colson Loveland isn't there, but his other boy Kenneth Grant is there. So Harbaugh is going to run to the podium. He's probably going to announce the pick himself. And Kenneth Grant, come on down. You're a Charger. Okay, you get the next two picks. Actually,
Ooh,
next three
it's
picks.
interesting.
Yeah.
Go to wide receiver for me real quick.
Oh, you think the Packers are going to do something they never do?
I, I've been hearing that they've been meeting with Matthew Golden. So that's the only reason why I'm trying to like think in the back of my head. Do
Okay.
they go for Matthew? Is that there? Are they looking at him at a second round pick?
Uh-huh.
Are they thinking about trading back? I don't think
Yeah.
they take Golden in this slot. And I'm going to assume that we're just focusing on if they were in the slot or like in that same number of
Right.
area, that same area. So
hmm
let's go
hmm
back to the all again, like go back to the general.
Okay.
I think they go for, I think they're going to go for James Pierce. Again, looking at talent, looking
Yeah.
at what he could provide. They needed to have an improvement in the edge area.
They
So
need
let's
edge
go.
rusher. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that is if James Pierce lives up to his potential, that is scary for the NFC North. He's got some talent. We'll see if he can actually own up to that talent. All right. Who do you
Oh,
got for the Vikings?
man, Andrew, if this is the way the board falls, I'd feel a little sad if I'm the Vikings. This is not
Oh, I mean, if I was a bet man, which I'm not, I would already put my bet in that the Vikings are trading down
Yeah,
because they don't have many
I'm
picks.
not seeing
And
it.
if the board is like this, there's so many options lower. Like, for example, Walter Nolan, Gray Zabel, Harmon, Alexander. There's so many guys down there that trading down makes too much sense.
I think I would go Gray Zabel in this spot. And the only reason I'd argue that is because
Yeah.
it depends on how things are going. But if they're worried
Hmm.
he's gonna like go in the next couple picks, they'll take him.
Which is
So it
possible.
just really depends on Gray's market.
I mean, I would say the Lions have the next best shot at
Yes.
taking him because the Lions are known for that type of stuff. And Minnesota doesn't want the Lions to get him. So that makes sense. Are we going Gray Zabel?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Gray Zabel, come on down. You made the Minnesota Vikings O-line possibly be like a top three unit. All
And then
right,
do
now
I
you have the Houston, you have the Houston Texans on the clock.
oh man, I'm not ready for this, Andrew. 3 picks in a row. Like this is wow. Um yeah. Just looking at receivers here,
Hmm.
because that's they have such a need at they got to go for a lineman. I look at the board here and I look at the linemen that are there.
Yeah.
They got to go for Simmons. I would go Simmons, and I wouldn't think about it.
Okay.
I would run to the podium with Simmons.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Yeah, they do need a receiver, but they don't really need a slot guy because that's Tank Dell. And when he's healthy, Tank Dell is really good. He just got to recover from that horrific injury. So, yeah, I like it. All right. So now the Rams are on the clock. This is interesting. This is interesting. I would feel like that if a Jackson Dart was here, they probably would draft him. Because Matthew Stafford has maybe 1 or 2 more years. But I don't think the rest of the quarterbacks are first round worthy. I would still say the Rams draft a quarterback eventually, maybe third, fourth round, something like that. But I don't think there's anyone on there that's this area worthy. So I'm gonna go. Oh man, I'm torn between a couple guys here. I think I'm gonna do something a little different. So they have Puka Nacua, and they have oh, I'm not blanking on his name right now. They just picked him up from the Jets, Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
They could use a slot guy. I'm gonna go Luther Burden. He's fallen. Is he a perfect fit for their team? Not really, but he fell, and there's not really a super need right now where they're at because they need linebacker, but the best linebackers were gone. It's not really a lot here at the moment. Their secondary is decent. I would go Luther Burden here. I would make that offense legit. Try because they need to win now. Matthew Stafford has probably 2 more years left. They need to win now. So I'm gonna go Luther Burden.
yeah, I think that's a good pick. For the Ravens, I'm going to go Michael Williams from Georgia. That I think that makes a lot of sense for
Okay.
them. Trying to mimic a little
Okay.
bit of an Eagles-esque vibe for building in the
Hmm.
trenches for Georgia.
Okay. And now
And now we're at
you
the
get the
Lions.
Lions. Then I get the next two because I got the Commanders coming up.
I am not loving the offensive line situation for them. I just don't feel like that makes a ton of sense.
That's yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I meant about Zabel. I know that Zabel's listed as a tackle, but I view him as a guard tackle. I feel like you could put him in either spot
He can
based off
play
of his.
any spot. And you can play him at center too. He can play anything.
Yeah,
He's a Swiss Army knife.
and I don't feel like that any of these linemen are like. I don't think Kelvin Banks fits in that role for them right there. I feel like
Mm,
Donovan is rated a little high. I think that
yeah.
I don't see that working out for them. Let's go with Matthew Golden.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, sneakily, wide receiver isn't a strong suit of theirs. They have Amon-Ra, awesome player. They have Jameson Williams, who has streaks of being awesome, but he's not consistent. That's kind of a sneaky need for them. I like that. Okay, so here in this spot, I was kind of thinking, do I take an edge rusher? But no, I think I'm going to go what they lost because they cut Jonathan Allen. They picked up, who they pick up? I forgot his name. I wasn't a huge fan of that D lineman. I forgot who it was. but I'm going youth. I'm going Walter Nolan to the Commanders because what happened to them? They got ran all over by the Eagles. So they need to try to fix the run game and stop the run. So they're getting strong up front. I'm going to go Walter Nolan here. And then this is my pick again. All right. So here, actually, the edge rusher makes a ton of sense because they just lost Von Miller. They picked up Bosa, who is, does he really have it? Does he not? I don't know. To be determined. But their defense needs some edge rushing. So I kind of agree that this is a little high for Ezekiel Ruke, but they need some help. So that's where I'm going for the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that as far as that thought process. And I just don't love the guard spot for the Chiefs in this area, but I think Kelvin
Hmm.
Banks could make a lot of sense if they really are
Yeah.
serious about making the line better. I think that's who they're going to end up picking in this spot,
Yeah. I mean,
especially since if it works out, him dropping to them.
yeah, and it's possible because I think they signed what Jalen Johnson as their tackle right now, and is that really an answer? So yeah, that I like that. That makes a lot of sense. And then we end with the Eagles. So I have something special in mind for you. Oh, hold on, that's too far. How about we draft a punter? I'm just kidding.
No, only people that auto draft in our fantasy league, Andy, and there's that
That's
problem.
very true. We get
And
three
then after
kickers
the
back to back to back.
and then after three full rounds, they finally figure out that they've been drafting kickers.
Hmm. Yep, for sure. Um, okay, so if the board falls this way, there's not really a lot of edge rushers that they might be looking at. And like you said, your safety, your boy, he already left. So to me, I kind of think you replace what you lost in free agency and get that third defensive lineman that just beef up front to continue that rotation, continue to let Jalen Carter get some rest, continue to just have so many guys that only play like 40% of the snaps and be fresh all the time and get someone like Derek Harmon at pick 32. I think that'd be a steal. I think that'd be a
Mm.
steal. Him, Davis, and Carter, that is nasty. Because you guys don't really have a whole lot of holes, honestly. If there was a Gray Zabel here, that would have made sense to kind of replace Becton. Um, but there's not. So just make that D line sick like it was last year.
Yeah, I'm so interested because Walter Nolan, the chatter I'm hearing for him going to Philadelphia, it just
Hmm.
gets seems to be getting louder and louder. And
Yeah,
so if
yeah,
things go the way that we're thinking and the Washington Commanders are going to be interested in them, I think the Vikings could be a likely trade up scenario because if the
yeah.
Vikings get enough, then they could trade up ahead of the Lions if they really need to. Because I
Very
don't think
true.
the Ravens
Very
will be
true.
married to that spot.
Hmm.
Um, and then the Ravens would be an also likely trade up candidate in my mind. Rams,
Hmm.
probably Vikings first, then Rams, depending on how things are falling with the board for Nolan. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how Walter Nolan, like where he falls to. But
Yeah,
man,
I can't wait till our next round when we do some trades because that's going to be so much fun. That's going to
oh
be
man,
so much fun. We're going to have like
that's going to be
18 trades in
crazy.
the first round.
I wish there was that many trades. I think trades are always so fascinating.
I know. They're so much fun too.
Can
Trading
you
up,
believe
trading down.
there hasn't been a trade yet? I'm still shocked that there hasn't been a trade like for one or two.
Yeah, a lot of GMs want to wait during the draft because they either feel like they can get something cheaper if you're trading up, or if you're the guy trading down, you could think you can get something more expensive because whenever it's live and there's players gone or players falling, value skyrockets or value deteriorates depending on what the draft looks like. So before the draft, you don't really know, and so the value's kind of stagnant. So like last year's trade when Minnesota picked up that pick 23, I believe it was from the Texans, that kind of shocked some people, but I loved it because we were just getting ammo to try to move up the board. Um, but I think that's kind of more on the rarer side, especially first round trades, getting more first round picks. until the literally time of draft because then you know there's a guy that you want or there's a guy another team wants. Call him up, see what you can do. You can upcharge him a little bit. Say, hey, you want Gray Zabel? Come get him. It's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you, Chief.
Yeah, man, there's going to be so many different things to watch in this draft. Is Jalen Milroe going to be drafted by someone on draft or the first draft night? Where does Tyler Show fall? Will Howard?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, just absolutely fascinated to see how these
Shador Sanders,
players
where he's
ended up
gonna
getting
go.
drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this one, it didn't feel weird that he fell. It didn't
I
feel
agree.
like
Now,
in each of those
would the
spots.
Seahawks truly draft him? Probably not. Even if he was there at 18, they'd probably go somewhere else like an O lineman. But I wouldn't have some fun, shake things up. And it does make some sense that if the second best quarterback in this draft falls to 18 and he's just sitting there for you, why not? It's not like Michael Penix last year when he drafted him like at 8 or 9, whatever it was. This is different. This guy is supposed to be a top five guy and he dropped to 18.
Mhm.
I don't think people would hate it.
No, yeah. I mean, I like most of the picks. Like, I feel the one,
Yeah.
probably the one for myself that I feel the most iffy about looking back is probably that Bears pick. But I,
Uh-huh.
I can't tell what Jalen Walker's worth is. Some sources I'm following feel like he is going to be drafted right around there, maybe a little like
Mm-hmm.
11, 12. But then others are saying he's a 24, 25 pick. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, I, someone talked about it on a podcast I listened to that said this is a copycat league, and they said look for
It
teams to
really
be
is.
extra motivated to draft edge players because of what the Eagles did last year against the Chiefs, because they'll
Mm.
think they can replicate the same thing, or the Commanders even against um, the Lions. I mean, their
Mm-hmm.
defensive line got after Jared Goff. I mean, they made him
Mm-hmm.
constantly make bad decisions. And so I could see teams talking themselves into thinking, hey, if we just got the right edge rusher in this draft, which is why I think Mike
Mm-hmm.
Green could end up going higher than I think he should because of the character aspect. But
Absolutely.
I mean, Trey Hendrickson being on this type of deal right now, unhappy with his contract, his age factoring in as well. I could
Right.
see that happening. So this is going to be interesting, man. I'm really interested to see what our final grade is after the draft.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. I think we're gonna be closer on the accurate skill than we think. I think
Who
we've done this fairly well. Are we going to be 50% accurate? Maybe not that high, but could it be like a 38 to 40? Maybe. Maybe.
Well,
We'll
it
see.
just takes one person going in the wrong spot, and then it just totally
It's very
throws off
true.
your entire board.
It's just like March Madness.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Hmm.
Who would you have picked if you were the Lions in the spot with the way the board was falling? Would you have taken a wide receiver? Would you have taken someone else, maybe an edge?
Um, oh, I don't quite remember who all was there. Based off who was there by the picks after that, I might have gone a Walter Nolan because he's just such a great talent and their defensive line up front, they re-signed their young guy. I forgot it's a long name. I forgot who it was, like Levi something. But having a second guy just up front, just crushing, because like you said, it's a copycat league. And the defensive line the Eagles had was awesome, and that was shown. And so the Lions, what was their weakness last year? Their defense got hurt and they can use more bodies. What I think they really need is a guard, but there wasn't really a guard available there. So I probably would have gone Walter Nolan if I had that pick. And I wouldn't have liked
Mm-hmm.
it because I don't want them to get better.
Yeah. Is it Levi Onwuzurike? Is that how you say his name?
Something like
I cannot
that.
say that last name.
Yes. Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've got to
But
work on my
he's
pronunciation if
talented.
I want to keep doing this, Andrew.
Right. Yeah, he's talented. He was kind of the similar vein as the other really hard name to pronounce for the Cowboys, their defensive lineman.
Oh,
I don't remember
yes.
that guy's name either, but they both were in that same wheelhouse, that same vein of a good but not great player. So Lions re-signed him. So they do have a spot that they could fill up with someone. So Walter Nolan would make some sense. Gray Zabel makes the most sense, but they better not get Gray Zabel. That's all I'm saying. He's coming home to Minnesota. Come on.
Yeah, no Homer bias there at all. Just
No.
totally,
No, not at all.
yeah,
You know what's
no.
kind of weird is there's a lot of mocks, a lot of steam that the Vikings are going safety. And I think it's just because
Mm.
Cam Bynum left, but no one really knows Theo Jackson, and he is going to step right into that role, I believe. I think he is legit going to be the starter. Now, if let's say a Starks falls to 24, maybe, maybe, but what you're kind of touching on with the Pittsburgh Steelers and having fear to draft a quarterback there. What did Minnesota do 2 years ago? They drafted a safety from Georgia with their first round pick, and it had to be the biggest bust they've drafted in a long time. Would they go for a safety from Georgia again? They're different players, of course, but there might be a little fear there. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I
But
get
there's
that.
there's been a lot of steam of that safety from South Carolina. I forgot his name. I forgot his name, but the safety from South Carolina
Oh,
is the common one that's mocked to the Vikings right now. And I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of think we should draft in the trenches, either an O lineman or a D lineman.
is it Nick
Eamon
Emanwari? Is that his
Worry.
name?
Yeah, Eamon Worry. Yeah, that's the one. That's been the common mock recently. And I think it's just because the idea out there is we need safety help, which I know Harrison Smith, this is most likely his last year. We've said that for every year now, but this is most likely his last year. So I get it, but if we're in win now mode, which I think we are, I think we got to get better in our trenches still. So if a Gray Zabel is there, I say if you know he's going to fall a little bit later, trade down. But if not, just take him. Take him, put him at left guard, and then he's your left guard center for the future.
Yeah. By the way, you mentioning safeties just made me realize that if the Eagles can't get Starks second round, keep an eye out for Xavier Watts to the Eagles.
Mm, mm.
I love the position that he's ranked in some of these, top 100 boards. He
Hmm.
might be a player to watch. He might be someone that
You
would
know
make
what we
sense.
should
The Eagles would
do?
have to.
You know what we should do? Since this is so much fun, we should do our first round again next week with our trades, but we should also do a 7 round draft with just the Vikings and Eagles.
I like it. I like it.
Because we're biased for our teams. This is an NFL podcast, but we're biased for our teams. We could do what we want.
Yeah, I
We
like
should
it.
do that.
Yeah, I think that sounds. So, are we drafting our own teams? Am I drafting your team, or because then
Ooh.
we're gonna go kicker in the first round, Andrew,
Right? I think
just so I can make
for
you wince.
sure, I think for sure we should do our own teams first. If we have time, we could flip it. Because Minnesota only has 4 picks, so it won't take me very long. But I'll do some trades. I'll definitely do some trades.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's it for me on this mock draft, Andrew. This was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
this was fun. Oh, for sure. For sure. We definitely have one more in us, possibly 2 more with this new thought process. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. We've got so much more to come. Thank you guys for joining us on the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Be sure to subscribe, comment, like, share, all that good stuff. Help us out, make this show grow even more.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.